All right. We'll get into it. Angry Bears Fan Podcast, episode 9. Um, Following the debacle of the game we had against, the Lions.
Right. Got whacked.
Yeah, Justin Fields got beat up pretty good. But before we get too far, like, follow, subscribe, all that good junk, please. Today we'll probably be going over Fields sitting this last game. Obviously, what happened on Monday Night Football. Bulls beat the Nets. Who else they beat too?
They have like the best record against the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference. They do. I think they've lost like 2 games against the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference, and they get beat by everybody else.
It's ridiculous.
We can't beat the bottom, 14 teams in the Eastern Conference, but we can beat the top 4.
All right, before we go on too many Bulls tangents, we'll stick to football real quick. Bears, get some of this Bears stuff out of the way. Bears got beat up pretty bad by the Lions. It was pretty pathetic. The O-line, Jenkins and somebody else, I forgot who else went down.
Schofield
went down. Fields ran for 100 yards in the first quarter, which was impressive, but after that, he had 0 time to throw. Even on the few plays, he had a nice pocket. Nobody's open. It's just the story of the season.
Well, there was one play in particular, and this is part of his growth too, as he goes on, where, granted, it was Dante Pettis that was wide open. It was on a strip sack when he got chased down and stripped. He had Dante Pettis going on a corner route, literally nobody within 10 yards of him. But my guess is he wasn't looking at that quarter of the field. He was more kind of focused on what was in front of him and trying to, get some yards and stuff like that. But like I said, with time and growth, that should
trust in his wide receivers to make plays.
And he should see that. But like you said, they just got absolutely swacked. The offensive line's a joke. Tevin Jenkins going down doesn't, help things. He's just very injury prone. Who knows if he comes back next year, how many games he's actually going to play.
Yeah, it's just really, he came into the league hurt too. He didn't even play his rookie season because he came in off injury. So it's kind of like just been his thing. He plays with a lot of energy. I like him, but the best ability is availability, and he plays like 40% of the time.
Yeah, it's not looking good career-wise. And it seems like it's a recurring theme with this Bears team now in terms of just the entire roster. We all know the Justin Fields thing, him being out this week with Nathan Peterman taking over. They say it's a hip pointer,
nothing.
But realistically, it's just a tank. A huge
I don't know.
tank.
I don't know if it's tank. I just think it's protect Justin more. So he really got.
I wouldn't doubt it. But
brutalized. That was the first game this year where, like I said, we've been doing this since week 8 or 9, 10, whatever. But that was the first week, like I said, if you've been following, where I've been team play Justin. But during that game, I was like, "Fuck it, take him out." Like, what the fuck? Like, if the O line's not going to block at all, like, they're not going to fight at all. These guys aren't going to get it open at all. It's like, it's not his fault. I guess it's hit on him to kind of energize the team, but like the team just plays with no energy on both sides of the ball, and teams are just teeing off on Justin.
I feel like, and this is going to sound so bad because it's only his first year, but to me, the last several weeks, it just seems like this team has no fight in it. Like they have no. It's almost like they've quit on their coach already, which is not a good sign.
Something like that, yeah.
But, of course, now there's rumblings of, a Sean Payton return. And, I've seen some people like, oh, well, we could just fire Eberflus and hire Sean Payton, and trade away draft capital for Sean Payton, because Sean Payton with Justin Fields would be a miracle
nice.
job kind of thing. And, you and I were talking before one of our very first episodes. I said Matt Eberflus wasn't going to make it to Arlington Heights. Somebody like Sean Payton definitely would. But that's so hard to do. Like, you've seen improvement somewhat, especially in the young guys, like the young guys, the rookies under Matt Eberflus. But it just doesn't seem like Matt Eberflus as a coach doesn't have it. Like you were talking with Justin, he doesn't have that X factor. So I would be interested in, if it was a possibility, which I don't think it is, but if it was a possibility, I would love to see Sean Payton coach the Bears, see what he can do with this offense and Justin Fields and all this other stuff.
Right now, it's just so much. I guess it's all on polls because we're gonna have like 15 new guys at least, 20 maybe,
Oh yeah.
17. So, I like I said, I have to see where it goes. We got to get Payne. We got to hit in the draft. Like I said, we got to maybe find a frustrated number one wide receiver to pair with Justin. We just re-signed St. Brown for a very team-friendly deal, so I'm not really.
Yeah, I mean it's 1.2 for 1 year, and he's a good blocker. As long as you're not
next year.
throwing him out
Next
there.
year, I'm guessing he's going to be like a special teams player.
Yeah, I mean as long as you're not throwing him out there as like, oh hey, he's going to be my number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah,
which there's no way. But I mean, realistically, when it comes down to it, it comes down to this. So Chase Claypool's not working out. I think Ryan Poles
one target all game?
Yeah, I think Ryan Poles thought, like you thought, that when at the time of the trade, we were heading in an upwards direction.
Yeah.
So that draft pick that we gave up to Ryan Poles, I'm sure he didn't think it was going to be the number 33 overall pick, or the number 34 overall pick, depending on how this next week goes. If the Bears get the number 1 overall pick, though, I can tell you right now, there's going to be a king's ransom for that number 1 overall pick because, like we talked about last week, what if Houston falls in love with, Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, one of those two guys? What if, Houston falls in love with them and they have the number 2 overall pick? They trade up, they give us the number 2 overall pick, and then, next year's first and maybe like a third or something, 2/3 or whatever. Then we take that number 2 pick and another team is like, oh man, I need to get CJ Stroud or Bryce Young before Oakland jumps or before, New York Jets jump.
1 or 2 we're going to get a haul because, like you said, if these guys like the quarterbacks or not, nobody's going to sit around and wait and hope. Like, they're going to be like, all right, I got to get to 2. The Bears, they're going to be like, the Bears don't want a quarterback. We have to get to 2.
That's what I'm saying is that realistically, if you have the number 1 overall pick, you trade with Houston, 1 spot down, then you take that number 2 pick and you trade down again. You're just building. I really thought, and we talked about this before, I thought this was going to be a 3 or 4 year build. You're going to see some improvement next year, but I don't think they're going to be quote unquote contenders. They'll compete for the division, maybe for a wild card spot. But I don't think it's going to be like a quick 180 turnaround where, next year we're winning 11 games. I see 8 or 9 maybe, depending on what we do in the offseason. But you can get so much in return for that draft, positioning if teams fall in love with these quarterbacks. Plus, with Oakland's, they're definitely going to be trading Derek Carr this offseason. He'll probably end up in I want to say he'll be a New York Jet next year.
Yeah, Jet.
New Orleans Saint.
It's really, I don't know. I guess we'll see. It depends. I'm guessing everyone's going to wait to see who's not going to get the quarterback, and then they'll all concede for him. But yeah, I guess the Jets right now look like the best option just because
they're ready to win. Their
defense
is a championship defense.
And they got too many wins to be in a running for a quarterback. So
yep. And then they got Garrett Wilson, a great young wide receiver. They've got Elijah Moore, pretty good, solid option, number 2.
Corey Davis is pretty good too.
Bryce Hall when he comes back, or Breece Hall when he comes back, great running back. They're ready to win. So I think that's kind of a position he'd be okay with because honestly, I think Tom Brady ends up at Vegas next year.
Vegas?
Yeah, I think so. Josh McDaniels.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think I forgot about Josh McDaniels. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I really think that Josh McDaniels' Tom Brady connection is there. He's going to have Devontae Adams if Devontae Adams decides to stay. Waller.
Well, if Brady's coming, he'll stay.
Hunter Renfrow. Who knows? Maybe they fuck around and re-sign Josh Jacobs, and then all of a sudden you have a squad with Tom Brady. Which honestly, I don't see how Tom Brady takes. I don't think Tom Brady at 46 years old is going to be leaps and bounds over what Derek Carr was this year. I think there's more wrong with the Raiders than just Derek Carr. But
just button heads, like you said, it is some chemistry. Josh McDaniels, he knows what Brady likes. Maybe he just hasn't got a feel what Carr likes to do. They're button heads.
All this is just, like I said, it's all everything that happens with every other team is going to directly affect the way the Bears approach this offseason.
Yeah.
So the Derek Carr thing is a thing to watch. The quarterback carousel and the free agency before the draft is something that the Bears are going to have to look out for because, if somebody like the Jets, because I don't think Detroit's going quarterback this year. They don't need to. I think Jared Goff's earned himself another season in Detroit.
Yeah, I agree too.
But,
And he just makes
Vegas,
too much money to just be getting rid of.
yeah, with the free agency quarterbacks, I think Vegas, like I said, I think Brady goes to Vegas. I think Carr ends up with the Jets. I think Garoppolo probably replaces Brady in Tampa. So that leaves you with New Orleans, Indianapolis, that, those teams that really need quarterbacks because I don't think any of those top tier quarterback free agents are going to go to any one of those two destinations because they're both a mess. Indianapolis is a mess. New Orleans is a mess. Dennis Allen's not a good coach. That was a horrible replacement for Sean Payton down there. I don't think Sean Payton will go back to the Saints. It's a possibility, but he's got no quarterback. He wants to be able to come in with a quarterback, which is why I think it would be an interesting destination if for.
Yeah, he played for us too, right?
Yeah, he was a backup. I think he played for. Did he play for the '85 Bears? I think he was the backup for the '85 Bears.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was.
So, I mean, that would be awesome. I know he has good things to say about Justin Fields because, as I was talking about before, Justin Fields is what Sean Payton wanted Taysom Hill to become, and I mean, it's there, it's there. I have a factor cap about this, and we'll talk about it just about Ryan Poles in general, because there's been some rumblings that he has done his homework, which he wouldn't be doing his job if he didn't, on both Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. He's done some heavy scouting, things like that. I don't know if you've listened to ESPN radio recently, but there has been reports that they talked about whether or not he has the balls to trade Justin in the offseason because Justin's not his guy. And maybe he falls in love himself with CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. I don't think he's stupid enough, but
I don't know. Well, I guess we'll talk about the fact that it just seems silly because our problem is, like I said, I don't know. I mean, Justin could not be a superstar, like I think, but from what I've seen, it's not really his fault. Like, he looks like if we gave him some time and some weapons and defenses had to play him more honest, it wouldn't be so bad. You're all right. The Bears, not too much to talk about. Like you said, Justin sitting, our season's over. We're just going to be scoreboard watching. I might even just watch the fucking Texans game and be rooting for them the whole time because the Bears with Peterman, and we're definitely going to lose the Vikings. No way we beat them.
Yeah, I don't think so, especially with Peterman throwing 4 interceptions. And like you said, I really might just watch the Texans Colts game. I mean, I'll switch off the Bears game too, just to see if what's going on with that. But there's a few interesting games next week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I won't be watching the Bears.
There's oh my God, Seattle and Los Angeles, and Matthew Stafford.
Don't Green Bay and Detroit play?
Yeah, that's Sunday night.
Oh, Sunday night.
It got flexed, and that's the thing. That's why a lot of people are upset because since it got flexed, if Seattle wins, Detroit has absolutely no reason to play hard except to maybe kick Green Bay out.
Oh yeah, that'll be a good. I think that's good enough reason. I think they would play hard just to beat the Packers anyway. So I think that's fine. But I think that's probably what the NFL was thinking. Like, even if the Lions,
Stafford's cleared to play, and Stafford already said he would play. And the reason why he said that is because he said he made a promise while he was in Detroit that he would do everything he could to get the Lions to the playoffs. That's when he was the Lions quarterback. So if he has an opportunity to play with the Rams against Seattle, beat Seattle to give Detroit an opportunity to make the playoffs, I think that's pretty cool. I think that's a very classy thing on his part.
Yeah. I don't know. Matt Stafford, they give them this song and dance where they're like, they never did anything for him. Like, I don't know. I remember those Lions teams had pretty solid rosters. They weren't fucking perennial, but he had Megatron for 10 years. He had Sue for like 8. Like, that's fucking more than the Bears ever fucking had, or any of the Bears fucking quarterbacks ever had. Like, And so, and like this, like I said, maybe the last few years before he went to LA, but I think he was more choke artist than the Lions weren't surrounding him with talent.
Yeah, I mean,
He had Megatron for 10 years. Like that's like, you know what I mean? And a good, and like Megatron isn't like Randy Moss where he only runs flies and he, you know what I mean, he plays when he want to play. Like Megatron was like the best wide receiver in the NFL hands down for 10 years straight. Like nobody was better than him.
yeah, but you take a look at that, right? Like Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford. Who else was on those Detroit Lions teams? That's like Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders, it was Barry Sanders.
That's, yeah, but Barry Sanders, a running back's different than a quarterback and a wide receiver. And they, like I said,
not
they had
back then, not in the 90s.
They had Sue. I mean, in the 90s, it's just you're going to swarm them. Like eventually, like at one point, it'd be okay. But I mean, even the 85 Bears, like we had other people, and the defense was just amazing.
It was just the defense.
Yeah, so it's like
the defense of
Walter Payton. Yeah, it's like I don't know if it's the same, but a quarterback and the wide receiver is completely different than Barry Sanders.
In today's game.
Yeah, and they played but they played in like the transition. Like part of their, like they were part of that. They were one of the teams.
But their defense was still horrible, even though they had.
I would say half the time. I'd say half the time they had a horrible defense.
But they still went to the playoffs a lot of the time. You know,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why
he couldn't get over that hump because
he played bad.
They had the Calvin Johnson defense. There was like literally three people.
That's what I'm saying. He was playing bad, and he couldn't hit the other people. So yeah, that'll be interesting. I think the Lions will play hard for all.
I want the Lions to win.
Yeah,
I want them to go to the playoffs.
I guess I like Aiden Hutchinson. So, but
I just want Jared Goff to shove it up everybody's ass.
Yeah,
man.
I thought that was weird when they got rid of him too.
I'm rooting for Jared Goff. I don't know why it's weird, but plus I don't like Aaron Rodgers, so I'll just root against Aaron Rodgers no matter what.
I always did like Aaron Rodgers. I don't not like him for like the vaccine shit and all that. He's just being weird now. I'm fine with the vaccine shit and all that. Like whatever, to each their own. If you don't want to get vaccinated, I don't give a shit. Fucking, exactly. But he's like a prick now, and like he's just like just a huge prick.
He's the hallucinogenic thing that he drinks or whatever. He's a fucking weirdo, dude. Like he's turned into a straight just like weirdo. But we do have the game coming up. We'll talk about that a little bit. Minnesota, Justin Fields is going to finish 66 yards short of the quarterback rushing record. You and I talked a little bit about, whether or not they would play him if he was this close to the record. I was you were saying, yeah, he would play. I was saying, no, he wouldn't play. I just, like you were saying, I think this is to protect Justin because.
Well, that game was like a slaughter. The Lions game, they really, they got a lot of big hits on Justin.
Minnesota,
I think some of it was on him too. He just like that sack fumble, like he just had the ball too long. Like
Minnesota's pass rush is better than Detroit's too. Yeah. So I think that, especially with the offensive line banged up, they know they're not going to be able to protect them. They don't have a game plan for quick passes. I think it's like, hey, let's throw Nathan Peterman to the Wolves. Because that's what's going to happen. Because is Minnesota still in the running for the number 1 seed? Because Philly lost.
They got something to play for. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know Philly lost. Dallas. It's like Philly, Dallas, and Minnesota are all right there. I'd have to check the standings, but either way, man, it's just Justin Jefferson's going to catch 15 balls, especially because he's pissed off about last week. Having Jair Alexander guarding him, you know what I'm saying, and getting shut out, 1 catch for 15 yards. So I have a feeling that Kirk Cousins is just going to feed him like he did the first half of the last meeting that they did. He's going to have 15 catches in the first half. Like it's going to be a bloodshed. But it's all in the name of a better draft pick. That's my feeling on it. That's how I'm going to go into this game thinking. I have no expectations whatsoever. I don't even expect the game to be close. I just want to get that. I want to secure that top pick, either number 1 or number 2. I don't even care if Houston wins or loses. As long as we lose and we secure the number, because if we fuck around and win, we're gonna, and like Denver loses and somebody else loses, we're gonna go from 2 to like 5, and that's a big.
I just got a breaking news real quick. I was trying to transition to this anyway.
Oh, my bad.
He went. Oh no, it's fine. I wasn't necessarily like trying to interrupt, but the NFL is not going to resume the Bengals-Bills game. I was trying, like I said, we're going to transition to that next anyway. I'm sure everybody saw the Bills player went into cardiac arrest on the field on Monday night, and they canceled the game. Me and Tom on social media had a difference in opinions. Personally, like I said, social media, unpopular opinion. I thought they should have finished the game that night. Just because, like I said, because of this scenario, I just think at no point can you finish it. Like, if you leave that day and leave the field, that game wasn't getting finished, and it just. So I don't, like I said, all of the news says is that the game will not be resumed and has been canceled. I don't know if that means who was winning at the time. The Bengals.
The Bengals were winning 7-3.
But yeah.
As part of that report, they're also considering adding another playoff spot, like an 8th team to the playoffs, to give an extra bye to that number 2. That way the standings really aren't affected. My whole thing is this, and this is what I think people are more upset because I've read some of the comments on like Bleacher Report and stuff like that. More people are upset about the fact that their fantasy implications, the fantasy championships and their bets and shit like that, where they were pissed off that they weren't going to get any answers from that, as opposed to DeMar's health and his life. You know what I'm saying? And I, like you said, you and I disagreed on social media, and it is what it is. Where you thought they should have continued. I said there's absolutely no way that they would have, because when something like that happens, and we talked about injuries too. It's, for me, I think it was a little bit different for those guys on the field. Like if he had just gotten hurt, if he had broken his neck, I think it's a different story. But the fact
I don't
that
see how it's a different story than breaking your neck. Like,
watch the dude die.
Yeah, but you could die like
field,
yeah, but like it's just because.
Resuscitated.
But there's people who've had been resuscitated like in the ambulance on the way. Again, it was horrific. I'm not saying that it wasn't bad. Like I said, I'm not trying to disrespect the moment or saying I don't think he was that hurt. I think it was serious. Not saying I don't think these guys were affected. What I'm saying is like it came to a point where like I just don't think the game gets played now.
And that's okay.
I don't know.
That's okay. Because
okay is fine. It's okay. I don't think that was the correct decision. I'll say okay. I'm okay with it. And like I said, I will be honest. In the grand scheme of things, I don't care at all. But like I said, if I was the one making the decisions, I would not have stopped the game. I would have told them take a fucking hour break. We'll get them to the hospital, see what happens, and then we'll go from there.
Even if the commissioner would have said that, I can promise you that game still wouldn't have happened. Yes, because people are
because they want to pretend like that. Like I said, going to protest and yada yada. I don't care. Like I said, the game should have been played. If you like, that's just life. That's not like football is a microcosm of life. Like if anything happened, like that was like a huge that's just what it is. A fucking Amazon worker drops dead in the warehouse and not fucking shutting the place down. Like,
I think it's apples and oranges when you're.
Yes, because you can't compare anything, but like that again, where it's like. The game is so special. Like people have almost died on several occasions on many football fields, not just NFL fields.
Yes,
and almost they died. The games.
Almost died.
He almost died.
He did die. He was clinically dead and had.
If they bring you back, you almost died.
Pulse. No, when you have no pulse, you are clinically dead.
Okay,
he was like I said, dead.
Either way, they brought him back, and he was alive, and he's alive right now. And I'm gonna say, in my fucking defense, what was the first thing he asked when he fucking woke up?
What
the first thing he asked when he woke up was, "Who won?
Did we win the game?"
Yeah, exactly. Like that's not again. It's unprecedented. It was a horrible thing, and I don't know in the moment. And you know what? We were arguing. I think a funny story that involved you came to my head. I remember when we were kids, you almost killing a kid on the field, and we finished that game. And they took him out on a stretcher and like in a neck brace, and like you know what I mean. His parents probably thought he was dead. Like And what I'm saying,
he didn't die on the field.
What I'm saying, it was horrific. And like I'm saying, like I'm sure all of his teammates and we were all traumatized. And we're all little kids, and we all went back on the fucking field to finish the game.
I felt
like
bad.
I said, I'm sure you did. I'm not saying you should. Whoever did it should have felt bad. And you could feel sad. Josh Allen can fucking cry. I don't care. But like fucking Brett Favre's dad died and he played in the fucking game that night.
Yeah, but when some like a family member, that's just one
It's
person being
work.
affected.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
one
maybe.
person being affected. You have a whole team of. It wasn't
Then
even
again, I felt
53.
like they should have voted then fine if all the players didn't want to play then fine. Or let,
Well,
like I said,
that
whoever wanted to
that I
leave.
can understand. That I can.
Yeah,
If
again,
they would
yeah,
have taken a vote,
yeah.
you know what
And
I'm saying?
all
Like
the
who wants
players
to
said that
play,
they were
who
too
doesn't want to play.
traumatized to play. But like I said, even the guy who fucking died on the field, the first thing he thought about when he got brought back to fucking life was like, who won that game? And it's like I said, it was a horrible thing that happened. But like I said, that's what we've always done. That's what it is. You finish the game. Like, and that's why I just thought it was unprecedented. And maybe moving forward now it's precedented. That's what we do when someone almost dies on the field. But on many occasions, people have been fucked up, paralyzed, and like, and for the most part, being paralyzed fucking for an athlete, that is death. They probably want all the guys that got paralyzed on the field probably secretly want to die. You know what I mean? No offense to all them. I know I probably would. But fucking
Yeah, I can see that point.
but
Um,
it
realistically,
just
I
it was
mean,
horrific. They brought him back. You know what I mean? He was breathing. Like I said, I would have stopped for it if it was me. I would stop for an hour. I would have let the head coach go to the hospital. You know what I mean? A couple players, like enough guys could leave for us to at least feel the team, and then fucking we finish the game. Like, you know what I mean? And fucking all after the game, go, you know what I mean, say a prayer, and we all go to rush to the fucking hospital afterwards. Like I said, they all sat there for 2 hours answering questions and then go into 2 hours later anyway.
well, I can promise you that this portion, when you cut it, will be the most commented on piece of any of our little short clips that we have uploaded on our channel because it's a very big thing. And you and I spoke a little bit on social media as well about the Skip Bayless tweet. You know, and I don't know, I don't understand personally why he's getting so much backlash.
I read it like 100 times. I still don't understand. Like I said, I think they're implying that it's just insensitive at all to bring up the outcome of the game. But like that's literally his fucking job.
Well, it's not just that; it's like,
And that's what everybody was thinking anyway.
exactly. He said what we were all thinking,
And it's
but none
bullshit.
of
Like I
us.
said, people love to feel like they have this fucking moral high ground. Like, oh, I was sad about something bad that happened. Like these people I see commenting, it's like, you don't even know who that fucking guy is.
No,
You could not pick him out of fucking lineup. None of that shit. Like, it's fine to feel sad and think a bad thing happened in a football game. But to go and grandstand and pretend like you actually give a fuck and shame some guy who in reality probably gives a fuck way more than you do.
well,
Like
you see
he
it. You
might
see
say
it with
it's such
his.
a,
You see it with Damar Hamlin's GoFundMe. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like before, he had like $2,000. You know what I'm saying? In for that fundraiser for his charity, and now since the injury, in his near death experience, he's got over 6 million on
Because
that
people get
GoFundMe.
to take a scrot and post it on Twitter and say, "Look at
Yes,
me, I
they,
donated."
they do it. A
It's
lot
like
of them do it for clout.
and like
Not all of them. Not all of them.
and this
Maybe
is
some
what I
people
meant.
didn't know about it, but
Yeah. Not again, or some people were just trying to be good again, but it's like you don't pretend like you care that much. And like this is what I meant, and I think Skip was following along the lines about finishing the game. Like that's just what we did. Like that's America. People die, we do our fucking jobs. Like people die, buildings still got to get built. Like it's a sad thing and things like that. Like I don't, and like I said, and I kind of felt bad for the people who were there. They just canceled the game now. Like were they refunding all those people? That can't be good either. Like that's
oh, I'm
probably
sure
going
they
to
would
cost.
be.
I know, but what I'm saying is like that's going to cause a problem as well. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but I don't think in the grand scheme of things that the Cincinnati Bengals organization really gives a fuck about, refunding people their money in
I
terms of the
guarantee
bigger
you, they
picture.
give a fuck about that money way more than that fucking kid.
I don't think so.
Yes, they do.
No, the Bengals are a pretty classy
I mean,
organization.
they
If it
can
was
be
somebody
classy.
else,
You don't become a billionaire being classy. So I don't
no,
care how
but if it
classy
was
you
somebody
pretend to
else,
be. They don't give a fuck.
if it was a different organization, maybe. But I mean, you see it with Bills Mafia. They're great
Those are
fan
fans,
base,
though. Those are
great
poor
fan base,
people.
great people.
But that's
But
what I'm saying. Poor people are generous.
the owner himself is, a pretty good dude. I mean, if you were
Yeah.
talking about
I'm
the
not saying
Cleveland
he's
Brown,
fucking Dr. Evil. What I'm saying is like they care about their bottom line. They kill people all the time when they do layoffs and fire people and all that shit. So fucking they, like I said, they don't really care in that grand scheme of things. Like they probably are like, holy fuck, we got to pay all these people back. We didn't get any concessions revenue. You know what I
Oh, they're
mean?
gonna get a yeah, but they'll make that money back in the playoffs tenfold. I can guarantee you that because realistically, I, this is just me personally. If we're talking about straight football, um, I think Cincinnati comes out of the AFC again. They just they're too good. Joe Burrow is the fucking
I
man.
won't say they're too good. I think Joe. I agree with you. Joe Burrow is the man. I think they have weaknesses on defense, and Joe Burrow holds the ball. Like I won't. He does get it out quick, but he takes a lot of sacks too. So
He does, but there's just something about like the way he carries himself on
he's
and off the
Brady. He's
field.
Brady-esque. He's
He's
calm and
got that.
collective. He's
He's
ready,
got that swag. You know
and
what I'm saying? Like,
they've got guys you can't press. The guys get open. So
well, they got three good wide receivers.
yeah.
Jamar
They have
Chase.
2 1s and like I said, Boyd's probably one of the best twos there are in the league. Like or
Yeah,
slot guy.
and that's insane. And I cannot believe the hate that T. Higgins has gotten too. Like this man has gotten death threats on his,
Well, I
social
didn't get
media.
that either. I was when it all happened too. I was so confused because I was watching like the play pretty intently, and I'm like, "What the fuck's happening?" He didn't even like they. It was like a regular tackle where like his head hit his chest. They fell down. It wasn't even that hard of a like. I mean, I'm sure it hurt, or you know what I mean, but like it wasn't any like we've seen people get fucked up in football games, and like he didn't look like I said it was some other shit. Like I'm assuming it's just like
Well,
everything.
what they are saying is it's a heart, and everybody has it. It can happen to anybody,
Yeah,
but that hit was like a 1 in like 10 billion odds of happening where he got hit in the chest at the exact moment where his heart was like taking a beat. It was like it was
yeah,
in the middle of something, and it just stopped after
yeah.
that
Because
hit.
yeah, because that was weird. Where I was like, "What?" Like I said, it was horrific. Like I said, and I would
I
never want to see
knew
anything like that.
I knew
And
something. I knew something was up as soon as I saw because I watched the play live and I saw him like go down. And as soon as he went down, I said, "This dude's fucking dead."
yeah,
Like,
and I did think something was fucked up. Like I said, because I was like, get me, I was like, it was weird. Because like I said, it didn't even look like he hit his head to me.
no, I
It
knew
was
it
kind of
wasn't.
like that one two a hit where he got slammed down on the ground and he did hit his head, but like I was like, that was fucked your head up. Was that?
Well, I think a lot of people thought that when he fell and his head hit back, that maybe he was concussed or something like that. And I was like, no, like if you watch it, he stands
No,
up,
he
and
like
it's almost
fainted.
like you
Like
were. It's almost like you were like yeah, like if you stand up real fast and you get lightheaded and you
yeah,
faint. You know what I'm saying? That I
that's what
saw
happened.
like
Oh yeah, I
that's what
noticed that.
happened, but he had no heartbeat and he
Well, like
wasn't breathing on his own.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? He was done. And I was at work at the time when it happened, and I like literally I walked up to my boss and I was like, somebody just fucking died on Monday Night Football. Like
well,
this dude's dead. Um, and it was I've never seen anything like that on live TV where that had
it
happened,
was. I
with
stick
the
to this, and I
exception.
said it. I said it on social media. If that shit happened at 12 o'clock in the Jacksonville and fucking Duval, Florida, and during the Jaguars game, that shit would not have got canceled. And I
Well,
stand by that. Monday
here's the
night,
thing.
everybody was watching. The whole fucking world was watching. It was two heavyweights playing too, so everybody was tuned in, and they just couldn't because, like I said, everybody's a fucking Mother Teresa now. We're like, oh my god, the NFL can't possibly. But it's like, like I said, and sure, it's football players. People fucking die every fucking day. Every snap that's taken in the NFL, somebody drops dead as soon as the ball snapped. Like that's just life. Like, I'm not grading the kid, but people die all the time, and we play football.
Here's what I compare it to. The only other thing I have ever seen live like this, and I sent you the text message, was 1999, the WWF at the time pay-per-view Over the Edge in St. Louis when Owen Hart had fell, and he died, obviously, and they continued with the show. Now he got Vince McMahon got publicly lambasted
I don't remember that. I
um,
remember him dying. I don't
for
remember him
that, yeah, for
taking any
that
heat.
decision
But I
because
didn't
they
like watch the news.
continued.
I was a kid. I didn't watch the news, so
Yeah, they continued.
I
They
just watched
continued the
like yeah.
show after he died, and just publicly he was eviscerated for that decision. And I think that kind of played into the minds of the NFL as well, because there you talked about Cincinnati, the Bengals organization losing money for having to refund those tickets. Imagine if the NFL had pissed off, the cream puff soft, people of the United States, and
I don't think that would. I don't think that's something they would stop watching for because the
I
NFL
think
finished the
so.
game where
I think
somebody
so.
possibly
Absolutely.
no. Would
Oh
you
yeah.
stop?
I'm a different person. You and me are different people. You know what I'm saying? But most of the people
But
that
that's what
watch
I'm
aren't
what
like
I'm saying. But what I'm
diehards.
thinking. But a lot of America are diehard fans, like a football fans.
Yeah, but most of the people that are well, I wouldn't even say most because you have professional football players that were saying that they shouldn't have continued that game. You had analysts and stuff like that, people like Ryan Clark and you
They're
know
all sweethearts now because they all want
Pat
to get on the players'
McAfee,
good
not
side so
Pat,
they
not
could
not
fuck.
Pat McAfee. Pat
Yeah, so
McAfee
you
doesn't
could
give a
come on their
fuck.
podcast. He has to be nice to everybody so they come on his podcast.
Pat McAfee doesn't give a shit.
Pat McAfee is team players
He
all the way.
Pat McAfee.
I
It's
like him. I
funny.
think he's good, but I
It's
just think he's
funny
pro
watching him with
player.
Aaron
He's pro
Rodgers
player.
because
He is pro
he
player.
Oh, well, yeah, I think he's pro player, but I just don't think he gives a fuck about it. I don't. If you told him no, I don't want to be on your podcast, he's not going to be like, oh, come on, man. I think he's be like, okay, well, fuck you too. Kind of like with Aaron Rodgers. Like Aaron
Well,
Rodgers joins
I
his
agree
podcast every
there. What I'm
Tuesday.
saying is, but you want people to like reach out to you, so you want to be the guy everybody likes. That's how I feel about like JJ Redick. He never says anything bad about fucking any players. He's like, oh, they're all amazing, and they would fucking beat up Bob Cousy and fucking dunk on them. Like, it's like, okay, JJ, we all know that. You just don't say it. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, that's why I like, that's why I like the thing with Skip. I just don't understand. I thought he was more in the wrong for the Shannon Sharp disrespect than he
That's
was
what I
for,
said. I think that
what I'm
kind of
saying.
flew under the radar. Nobody knew what to do because nobody ever really talked to him, motherfucker. Like Skip kind of like really went hit. Like that was I don't I don't know how like I watched Undisputed a lot. And I just thought it was like a tough jab from like a homie. Like we're friends, and I've said like you know what I mean. You guys are tight. Like when you're tight, you say shit that like you be like, damn, like that. Like you'll say something to me that so like a stranger obviously wouldn't say to me. So like that's how I took it. Like I did think it was like a burn. Like damn. But I just thought it was like some shit where like he was taking a dig because like he could go there. Like and I think Shannon kind of felt that way too, and maybe got a little mad and went back. But I think everybody else took it over the edge, like he was supposed to beat Skip up or something because he treated, you know what I mean? He made a funny joke. Like,
Yeah, but I think
Skip,
there's a
like a
fine.
man, has took his lumps. Richard Sherman, fucking all types of grown ass NFL players and NBA players have get on there and went in on Skip. And
Oh
and
yeah.
and he took like, okay, that's what happens. Sometimes people say some stuff that, you know what I mean? Like I said, I don't think it was disrespectful. I just thought it was like a sick burn. Like, you know what I mean? Like, damn. Like,
I mean, I think there's a fine line. I know you and I mean, it's weird because honestly, like you and me, we could talk about this because there's nothing that either you or I could say to each other that would really get each other mad, with the exception of maybe the only thing I could possibly think of is maybe if one of us were to say something about the other one's children.
yeah.
Other than that,
Which like and that's like beyond
nothing
like
is
you know
off.
what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's
nothing
like
is off limits.
beyond, you know what I mean. They're your godchildren, so that's like even beyond like the scope of something that would happen. But like I
Yeah.
said, that's why I didn't think about that. And like the tweet, and then Shannon. Well, what happened? Shannon doesn't show up the next day. I just think he says he wasn't ducking, but I think he just didn't want to be there and
Well, no,
be the
his
one to
granddaughter,
force
his granddaughter was born.
again.
So, I mean,
I don't
I
know.
can see because
I
I
don't know.
mean,
I think that was a perfect excuse for him.
well, a lot of I know they don't work for ESPN anymore, but a lot of like ESPN guys, even on the radio and stuff like that, Mike Greenberg, Waddle and Sylvie, all those guys, it seems like they take like 100 fucking vacations a year because I'm always tuning in and it's like, oh, here's Black and Abdallah filling in
Oh yeah.
for,
Oh yeah.
Jay Hood and fucking Cap.
Jay Hood and Cap don't take as many
No, but Waddle and
vacations.
Sylvie
Waddle,
are
Sylvie.
always on vacation.
Waddle,
Mike
yeah, I was gonna say
Greenberg.
Waddle's always fucking gone. Waddle be all over them, but he's probably like doing shit. Like,
But see, Mike Greenberg says that, like, realistically, the radio program, his radio show is his hobby. His main focus is his TV show, First Take.
uh,
You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's why he's not on the radio as much anymore.
if
Where
he
he's
ain't feeling it,
really
yeah.
You know
But
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
his radio show was always a TV, was basically First Take. It was on
Well,
before First
yeah.
Take.
I mean, Mike and Mike.
I don't know why. Does he think that First Take is an upgrade of what he has? Like I always thought Mike and Mike was always better than First Take.
Well, I know there was a falling out between the two, and Golick ended up leaving ESPN after a while. But I always listen to every morning. I would listen to Mike. Mike,
Yeah,
on my way to high school,
yeah. I was
after
gonna
high
say we
school, and
did.
you
We
know what I'm
always
saying?
listen to
Like
Mike and Mike.
we
So.
always listen to Mike and Mike, and then out of nowhere, realistically, I mean, I'm sure it's out there for the people that know us. When I got out of jail, I went to listen to ESPN radio, and there was no more Mike and Mike. Like the whole entire ESPN lineup was changed, and I was just like, "What the fuck did I miss?" Because there was no Mac Yurko and Harry anymore. There was no more Mike and Mike. It all changed, and I'm just like, "Well, fuck me." Like, what happened? So I looked into it, and I guess they just had a falling out. Um, they just difference in opinion. Mike Greenberg wanted to do something more. Golick was content with just the radio show. But I know Mike Greenberg's a very ambitious individual. He's a very ambitious
Well, he
man,
probably
which,
just saw
you know,
the transition. If you make the transition,
yeah, the writing was on the wall. I thought, maybe he thought the future was in television, which it is, certainly, because more
not
people
to
watch
radio, just
TV.
way better than radio. Like
Yeah,
so.
more people watch TV than they do listen to the radio. So, as popular as they were on the radio, Greenberg was like, hey, we could be 10 times more popular on ESPN TV. And that's exactly what happened. His show, First Take on ESPN, is one of the most watched shows that they have on their entire lineup.
Well, what I'm saying is like, didn't they used to play Mike and Mike like on live on ESPN before First Take?
Yes.
That's what I'm
Yep.
saying. Like, was that not doing good? I don't know.
I think it was
I
just
watched
so
it.
early. It was
Yeah,
just so
people,
early. It was like
yeah,
4
they're only
a.m.
listening. Nobody's watching.
Yeah. It was like 4 a.m. or something
Everybody,
like that.
yeah, I did used to watch First Take a lot. I don't watch it anymore, but they have too many
But
people on. I like when it's like the same motherfuckers. I feel like a First
yeah,
Take is always like,
you know what show I really do? I miss the best damn sports show. Period.
yeah, that was a good one too.
That was awesome.
I like I said, I like Undisputed. I like Skip and Shannon. I feel like people are playing them against each other. I hope Shannon doesn't leave. Like I do think Skip stepped out of line with the comment about the Hall of Fame shit. But the other shit, I just thought like I guess that was like poorly timed. But he was he's one of the biggest sports personalities or
well,
you
see,
know what I
that's
mean?
the
Like
thing.
like you said, he asked the question we all wanted to fucking know. Like, what the fuck are we gonna do about this game? Like, and everyone can sit around and pretend like they love fucking Darvin and fucking they were gonna donate to his charity anyway, but I don't fucking buy it, and I know you're all big fucking fakes. Like, there's some players that I understand that it probably hits home to see your teammate down on the ground or to see a guy you interviewed, all that jazz. But like I said, my friends who are like, I won't say my friends, but the people I know, I think a lot of them are just being overly emotional in the moment. Like, people die all the time. It was horrific. I've never seen nothing like that on a football field, and it was crazy. But it's like people die all the time. I would imagine, fucking some fucking fan dies in the stand like every other game, like just on the sheer number of people who are showing up to the game and how often people die. Like people die all the time at the, you know what I mean, around the field, in the field. Like the show must go on. Is how I felt.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with Skip and what he said the tweet, but I just personally I don't like Skip Bayless as an analyst or a personality. I just think
I don't know how I feel.
He's a joke, dude. Like
I don't think he's a joke. I think that's not a fair assessment. That guy has been doing this for a long time.
I get he's a journalist. He went to school. He got, you know what I'm saying.
And not only that, he put in the work. He interviewed Roger Staubach, and he's still doing it right now. Like his credibility is unmatched. Like that's where I can't.
I'm not saying his credibility. I'm saying him as a human being is a joke. I just don't like his personality, dude.
Yeah, I can agree there. I don't know. He's kind of
he rubs me the wrong way.
I can agree there. I don't know if joke's the word either. I think he's a really disciplined guy who.
It's the same way I feel about
Nick
Wright.
Changed media, like sports media. I don't like Nick Wright. I don't like Nick Wright because he's such a LeBron stan. I hate Nick Wright.
I can't stand Nick Wright. I don't like Jim.
I like his football takes though because he's really I like some of his. What I don't like about the LeBron takes is like he's being ultra analytical and like everyone knows sports is not all stats. Like everyone knows that. Like I said, to me, LeBron is amazing, and he will always be number 2. I can't imagine anybody's gonna. I feel like he is, like I said, because Michael Jordan is just beyond numbers. He is Michael Jordan. Like LeBron wanted to be him. Like LeBron still sometimes wear his shoes. Like the whole world waits in line for his shoes still, and he hasn't dribbled the ball in an NBA game in fucking 20 years. Like, but that's why I don't like that. But I do think Nick Wright. But I'm not to say that is I don't like Nick Wright, but I think he's good at his job. And that's why I think I Skip is quite annoying, but I don't think there's anyone else like him. And I don't know, like he is like a foundational piece of like how sports is
bad publicity is good publicity.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If he wasn't doing his job well, then he would be a nobody.
And I think, and what I like about Skip is he does what he does, but he's also a true sports fan where like he has his teams and players that he likes, and he turns into a crazy fan who fucking no matter what you say about the players he likes or the teams he likes,
is it him or Stephen A. that's a big Cowboys fan?
He Skip's the Cowboys fan. Stephen A. is like
Cowboys fan. That's another one. I can't stand Stephen A. Smith either.
I don't.
He's annoying.
The show
he's just
annoying. He's kind of
just annoying. I like he has some good like basketball takes. Like if I could listen to him, talk about basketball, he has absolutely no rapport with the NFL and football. You know what I'm saying? So when I hear him talk about football, I'm just like, bro, I know more about football than you do. Just shut the fuck up. Like it doesn't. I understand you're a sports guy and you need to have a take on it because it's your job. But if you're going to have a take on it, at least know a little bit about what the fuck you're talking about. And sometimes when he spews off about the NFL, he has no clue what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Ready for some factor cap?
Sure. Let's get into it.
All right. So we talked about it a little bit earlier. This is the first question. Ryan Poles obviously has been doing his homework. There's a report that he was doing his homework on CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. There's been talks, especially on ESPN radio and national media, that Ryan Poles may not see Justin Fields as a guy because he didn't draft him. So I ask you, factor cap, Ryan Poles will pull the trigger and trade Justin Fields in the offseason and draft Bryce Young or CJ Stroud.
I'm gonna have to say cap. I think that would just be a bold decision because I don't think Justin really has any naysayers. That many. But I think that would put even more pressure on whoever took over, because I just, like I said, cap. I can't even wrap my head around that right now because to me, I think Justin is it.
Well, I don't think, like I said earlier, I don't think he'd be doing his job if he didn't kick the tires on it. You know what I'm saying? Just to see.
Well, he has to kind of posture like he might do that.
Yeah, because I think it's a negotiating tactic. Yes. You know what I'm saying?
I do agree there that he had. I do agree he kind of has the posture. It was like when the fucking 49ers tricked us into trading up for fucking Trubisky. Like, they never in a million years were going to take Mitchell Trubisky. We could have just took him and kept our fucking picks. But they, like you said, they were probably spreading rumors around like, oh, the 49ers like Mitchell Trubisky, and fucking the Bears are like, no, we like Mitchell. So, yes, I hope he does something like that. But like I said, I don't think either of them are better than Justin Fields.
Yeah, I'm going to say big cap on that only because you see what he's capable of. Obviously, you want to see more throwing the football because no quarterback in the history of the NFL has ever won the Super Bowl and rushed for over 500 yards in a season. So you want to be able to see him throw the football. That's number one on the list. Okay, you want to see him throw the football. But I think, like you said earlier, to your point, get him an offensive line, get him a couple of wide receivers, a true number one wide receiver especially, and get a pretty good defense around him. And you never know what can happen.
I mean, it's a real before you go into it, but I think this year, if our defense was like middle of the pack, I think we would have won fucking 7 games. So it's like they let us down. Like we're a couple special teams fumbles and poor defense away from winning. Like we got 3 wins right now. We could easily have 7.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I agree. We're like, I don't like it. Justin has much to improve on.
Well, there was a statistic. I don't know if you saw it. It's been on like Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. But there was somebody who took the records of all the NFL teams and this is in one-loss games, like close games, one-possession games, where if it had went the opposite way of what they did, the Bears would have 10 wins right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it was Giants, Vikings, fucking Redskins, the Lions
Commanders.
the first times. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I'm half black, so I can say Redskins.
Is that how that works?
Yeah, I'm bi race, so I'm immune to all. I can say all the racial slurs. But all right, what was their next factor, Cap?
All right. So number two, with Nathan Peterman starting, obviously the Bears shutting down Justin Fields. It kind of seems like this is a hey, let's just get everybody out there and see what they can do kind of thing. Let's get the backups out there. Realistically, it feels like a tank job. So I asked Factor Cap, the Bears need to use this opportunity and just throw Velus Jones Jr. in at kick returns, punt returns, and offense just to see what he can do.
Yeah, big facts. We can also throw Claypool's name in there. Just put Claypool, Velus Jones out on every two. Anytime there's two wide receivers or more, they better be two of them. Like you said, Velus Jones punts, kick returns. Like, what the fuck do we have to lose?
He's been great on kick returns.
He's been good, very good on kick returns. And like Getsy, he at times I think he's just lost his ability to drop some plays for these guys. There was a stat we saw the Bears were like the best team. We're like scored on the opening drive of like every single game this year.
Yep. Opening script has been fantastic.
Yes, I was just gonna say his opening script always goes well. But after that, they clamp down on us, and he doesn't find ways to get these guys the ball. Like I said,
well, it's also
it does not make any sense to me that Claypool only got one target in that game.
It's twofold because while we're the best scoring offense on opening drives, we're also the worst defense on opening drives. We've given up the most points on opening drives all season. So when your offense goes down the field and score, you're hoping your defense maybe can make a stop, get some momentum, but then they allow them to go right down the field and score. So it's kind of like, hand in hand. Obviously, you want an offense that can score, but defense wins championships. Let's be real. You need to be able to stop somebody. And all the last, I don't know who won the Super Bowl last year. The Rams. So the Rams, high-powered offense, but how did they win that game? Because it was a shootout. Their defense showed up. Aaron Donald won probably the second greatest defensive player in the history of the NFL. Showed up to play in the last, drive of the game. Like, defense wins championships. So you need to have a competent offense, but at the same time, you also need to have a defense that can keep you in the game and keep it close. That way, you know what I'm saying? It goes hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. You need to have both. Even if you were to have the number one offense with a middle of pack defense, I think that's sufficient enough because your defense can make stops every now and then. But when you have a very good offense, because the Bears over the last, 8 to 10 weeks of the season, they've been up there on offense, but they've been dead last in defense, and that's resulted in losses. So they need to work on that too in the offseason. Let's not just focus on the offense. I know both of us know that. I'm just hoping that Ryan Poles knows that as well. Number 3, we talked about Chase Claypool a little bit. Obviously, the trade has not worked out the way we have wanted it to. You would have thought that maybe there was a game this season where we would see something where they would force feed him the football, and it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit of a timing issue. So I asked Factor Cap, Chase Claypool this offseason needs to be Justin Fields' best friend.
That's big facts. I think, like I said, Velus Jones, he's on the roster, so he better jump out there too, because that's probably if he doesn't go crazy in this last game, he's probably getting cut. So he better be on Justin's tip too. Maybe that'll be something to be able to save him. But yes, Claypool, like I said, I don't know if it's timing. I definitely think one of Justin's problem is trust, and maybe that's timing as well, where it's not all on the O-line. They had that last game, they were atrocious, but there are some times where they're not. But when you're afraid that they are going to be, like I said, I can't imagine where it's like they get fucked up, they don't do their job 5 times, then the one time they do, you're expecting one of them to fuck up, and you weren't ready. Yeah. So
your internal clock as a quarterback.
Yeah, it's all fucked up. But again, there are things you can work on. I'm not going to blame it all on, but it starts with the O-line. If they can't do their fucking job, he can't even think straight. But yes, it is timing. Like I said, maybe some trust where, like I said, they just need to fucking throw the ball sometimes. Like that's kind of what I like about some of the backups. I feel like they do that more often. So we'll get to see Claypool get a bunch of ball where they just run whatever play the coach calls, because they're used to being like the scout team quarterback. So they just run the play, throw the ball. They don't care if they throw interceptions.
Well, that I'm going to say facts as well. And to that point, I think one of the positives about it, having Nathan Peterman, starting on Sunday, is that he doesn't care. You saw in Buffalo, I mean, horrendous stats. Don't get me wrong, but that man is not. Say what you will about him, he is not afraid to throw the football into tight windows. He thinks he's Brett Favre when
I
really
don't like I said, I don't think he thinks he's Brett Favre. I think the coach just calls a play and he's like, all right, that's a primary route. I'm throwing it to him. Like that's just it. Like
yeah. I mean, he's got the guns. He's got the gunslinger mentality with the arm of Chad Pennington. Like I just he's going to throw the ball. So he's, you know what I'm saying? If Chase Claypool is double teamed, he's going to throw it up there and he's going to give Claypool every opportunity to catch it. It may not work that way, but at least he's going to try. And I think that's going to be a positive. I saw some things in the preseason where he did pretty well. You know what I'm saying? So here's to hoping. I mean, if he throws the ball 30 times a game, 30 times on Sunday, I don't think anybody's going to complain as long as Chase Claypool gets like 10 of those targets. Velus Jones gets another, 8 of those
5 to
targets.
10, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So somewhere around
2
there.
jet sweeps.
But yeah, he needs to be attached to Justin at the hip. Absolutely. All right, number 4. We talked about it a little bit earlier as well. Sean Payton is interested in returning back to coaching. There's been rumors that maybe he goes to Los Angeles as the Chargers head coach, but it doesn't look like that because they're going to the playoffs. There's talks about the Raiders. There's talks about the Colts. There's talks about going back to the Saints or possibly going to the Buccaneers to kind of save Tom Brady. So I asked Factor Cap, if he's available, the Chicago Bears and Ryan Poles should look into getting Sean Payton.
I would say fact, look into it. He's just got a good track record. I think football is a lot more like a confidence thing. And it's like Eberflus just doesn't have the track record for these guys to take his advice and listen to him. I think Sean Payton's more of an inspirational guy. He'll have a better staff. But that's just not how the Bears move. So I don't think we will. But it'd be interesting to see what happens. What would he be worth? A second?
I would think so.
Yeah, so
I would think so. But
I don't know if I'd want to give up our second for Sean.
But here's the thing. How about this? With the picks that we get for trading the number 2 pick, if it comes with an extra second.
Or trade with the Saints. What pick are they? You can fall back to where they're at. What are they, 9, 10?
Something like that.
Oh, yeah, the Eagles. No, the Eagles have their pick.
No, the Eagles have their pick.
Oh, yeah,
but
so no, we can't do that.
Like I said, though, if you pick up an extra second
from,
a trade, for one of the top 2 picks, you still have two second-round picks.
Or they can just give us Olave and Sean Payton.
That wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But I would do it, if we picked up an extra second.
Yeah, if we found somewhere next year. I mean, if Sean Payton really doesn't want to go anywhere, like coach for the Saints, it might not be a second. It might be a third or something, just because.
Well, because
if he makes it clear, like, I'm not coaching for them, and he's like, well, they're like, well, we're not just going to give you everything for guys.
Here's my thing with Sean Payton, because he's building a superstar staff. That's what they're saying. He's got Vic Fangio as his defensive coordinator. Would Vic Fangio be interested in coming back to Chicago as a defensive coordinator? You know what I'm saying? I do too. And there's a very real possibility that while Sean Payton does call the plays, I still haven't heard an offensive coordinator's name. So what if he has a meeting with Luke Getsy, since Luke Getsy already has a rapport with Justin Fields in the offense? What if Sean Payton, decides maybe he does like Luke Getsy? You can retain him on your staff. Obviously, Alan Williams isn't going to work out as a defensive coordinator, but you already have the 4-3 system in play. You'd have to switch it back to the 3-4 because of Vic Fangio. But I think the 3-4 defense is more of a defense in today's NFL anyway, with how important those edge rushers are, because there's not a lot of 4-3 defensive ends that are true game changers besides Nick Bosa. A lot of the other guys that are edge rushers are 3-4 outside linebackers. Micah Parsons, even Joey Bosa, when he's healthy, TJ Watt, you know what I'm saying? All those guys are 3-4 standing outside linebackers. So I think the 3-4 defense is a better base defense anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the Tampa 2. I think the Tampa 2 is outdated. But
yeah,
I would definitely be interested in that. That's big facts for me. I really think they should look into it. I don't think it will happen because it's not how the Bears do business. Firing a head coach after one season, that's just not what they do. But this is Sean Payton we're talking about, and we did talk about the fact that, Eberflus wasn't going to make it to Arlington Heights, and a big name like Sean Payton would draw a lot of interest back to the Bears And on
They
top
are
of that,
hiring
they
a new
could-
president. It ain't Ted Phillips anymore, too. It's the dude from the Big Ten, right?
yeah, I forget his name, the Big Ten commissioner or whatever.
Yeah, he's a
But
money man, so we'll see.
I think Sean Payton also is a name that attracts marquee free agents, and that's important too. And we talked about possibly getting um fuck um the wide receiver from the Saints that doesn't want to play there anymore.
Michael
Michael
Thomas.
Thomas. Yeah, we
Yeah.
talked about him. He's got a good rapport with Sean Payton. So, you know what I'm saying? But honestly, all I had was 4. That was it.
All
I
right.
didn't have any more.
Well, it was good, a nice little hour. Everybody, if you tuned in this long, follow, like, subscribe, comment. But it was fun. Next week will be the final week of the season. We'll give our final breakdown of the season, and then after that, we're gonna have to come up with some cool ideas for each episode each week. I'm looking forward to that. Maybe do some mock drafts, all that good jazz, trade scenarios. But I will see you soon, buddy.